Sarah Palin thinks Trumpcare is an example of socialism. Oh, this is good. Now, this happened in an interview with Breitbart, of all places, of course. Now, during this interview, she ripped into the proposal, calling it, quote, a socialist giveaway to special interests, and saying that, hey, this plan, Trumpcare, this isn't really a conservative plan. No, this plan is a RINO plan, Republican in name only. Basically, Obamacare light. Which, of course, is a criticism that you're hearing from Americans for Prosperity, the Koch brothers groups, and different really far-right groups who think that giving you a tax credit, remember, this is a party that likes to lower taxes, giving you a tax credit so you can help afford your insurance, that is too much of a giveaway to the poor. And yet they love tax credits for the rich. That's ironic. No, I'll get into that in a minute, or in a little bit. Now, Palin told Breitbart, she said, remember, this is government-controlled healthcare. The system that requires enrollment in an unaffordable, unsustainable, unwanted, unconstitutional continuation of government-run medicine. No, that's not what this is. We don't have government-run medicine. The only thing close enough to it is Medicare, which is incredibly popular, by the way. She said, even in this new quasi-reform proposal, there's still an aspect of socialism. That's the whole premise here. Now, look, let me remind you, before you jump in, Ron, that Palin, she knows socialism. Because while she was governor of Alaska, she took the profits of oil companies that were operating in Alaska and redistributed those profits to every Alaskan. She literally handed out government checks to everyone. You know what that is? That is socialism. And actually, for this reason, she was incredibly popular as governor of Alaska. So yeah, she knows socialism, and she knows how popular it is because she used socialism. This is hilarious and very, very ironic. What do you think, Ron, so far?
Well, I mean, sticking with that plan in general, it does have critics on both sides of the aisle. And even though I think the criticisms from the right are so bogus,
Totally.
but in a weird way, I'm happy that they're there because I don't want to see this plan go anywhere. It's a terrible,
Right.
terrible, terrible plan.
It is.
And it's, I mean, and again, we've talked about this a million times on the show. We don't need to rehash everything. We both recognize that the Affordable Care Act is very flawed,
Yeah.
mostly because of the compromises that they made as it went forward to make it more and more, it's pretty much a clone of Romney Care. But compared to what we had, the nothing that we had, it's a step in a way better direction.
Yeah.
And, this plan is another big old step backwards. So, I think it's so insane that there's even just the way we politicize healthcare in this country is absolutely insane compared to every other industrialized nation in the world. Healthcare is not even a political issue in most countries. They have some disagreement. I mean, over in England, they have some butting of heads on how to
Right.
best handle it. Yes, and they have their problems too, certainly. We're not saying everywhere else is perfect, but compared to here, there's that basic notion that our country is wealthy enough that nobody should go bankrupt because they get sick. And we're going to make sure that's the case, whether we're, right wing or left wing or in the middle. We're going to make sure that's the case. There's no discrepancy there. Here we have that. Here, people truly believe that, if you get sick and you're poor, go fuck yourself. We don't care. And just on a morality principle and a structural principle and just a societal principle, that is so backwards and so disconnected from the rest of the industrialized world. And it's bizarre. It's truly bizarre. So the fact that Sarah Palin has this principal alignment towards Donald Trump's disastrous plan is creepy and bizarre because it's anything but a handout. It's far
Right.
from a handout. But I'm glad that she feels that way because I don't want to see this go anywhere. I would love to see it get, bipartisan smashed so it goes nowhere, because I think it's an awful, awful, awful plan. And bicker about it for the next 2 years, and then let's at least get, a Democratic stronghold in Congress so that he can't try to do anything else, and we at least have the Affordable Care Act in place until, hopefully in the future we get single payer. But until then, if we can at least have this very flawed plan, but at least a bit better plan in place, that'd be great. We're not asking for much.
Yeah,
really not.
We're asking them essentially to do nothing, which ironically has been their plan for the last 8 years.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they had no plan.
No plan.
And now they have this awful plan. Paul Ryan finally found it. I think that the plan was being kept in the same cabinet as the document that proved Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. I'm pretty sure that's where it was being kept. He finally found it. Good on him.
Man, he was really searching for it too. But look, earlier you said this plan is not a handout, right? Actually, this plan is a handout. It's a handout to the rich and the insurance companies. And in fact, some of the stuff that's in the plan, and we've talked about this before, is that the American Health Care Act would drop the individual mandate, right? But what it would do is that it would allow insurance companies to put on a 30% penalty to people who that have not been covered consistently. Mm-hmm. So if you have a drop in coverage for about 60 days, or you quit your job or whatever to go and try and find a new job, et cetera, you drop coverage. Oh, look at that. You now have a 30% surcharge. And actually, Sarah Palin addressed that as well. She said this 30% additional fee will be collected by some in the private sector, which will mean politicians are allowed to again pick the winners and losers. It makes you wonder who's lobbying hardest for aspects of this new bill, because obviously there are special interests involved. Well, see, here's the thing, Sarah. That ain't socialism. That's called corporate welfare.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you're right, but your overall assessment
you're
is
right,
quite
but
wrong.
You're wrong. It's hilarious. And look, do you know how to get rid of this corporate welfare, this picking of winners and losers? You get a Medicare for all, a system that essentially leaves out private insurance. Mm-hmm. No mandates, nothing. You just have Medicare, and that's it. And if you want supplementary coverage, then you can go to an insurance company and pay market rates for it. That would be my plan.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think that would be the best way. I mean, obviously, I favor total single payer, but
right,
like there's ways to make the baby steps. And I mean, for instance, I brought this up before, but over in England, they have a system where if you want to pay more for certain bells and whistles, you can do that.
I'm fine with that.
And I think those bells and whistles aren't like you either get a life-saving surgery or you don't. The bells and whistles are, if you're of means, if you want to have a nicer waiting room, you can get one. You can prioritize a little more. I don't know all the details, but I know that they have that. And I think something similar to that in the United States would kind of make everybody happy. You want to go through, this policy that you feel suits you better, that is a higher level. Well, you can kind of buy that a la carte, but everybody gets needed coverage. Everybody gets the essential coverage. And if they need a life-saving surgery, they're going to get it, through the single-payer system. If they have an emergency, they don't have to worry about going bankrupt. And that's the single-payer system working. But if you want the bells and whistles because you're rich, well, you still have the option to buy that. I think that would be the best way to kind of make everybody happy. And who knows, maybe through seeing something like this, the right and the left will find out what we all have in common, and maybe we'll be able to get past this this preconceived notion of healthcare as some political thing, and we'll learn how to get along. I don't know. I'm not getting my hopes up, but who knows? But
that's the thing. Like they treat healthcare as if it's a commodity, and it's not, or at least it shouldn't be. But here in America, that's what we've done. But I have a theory, right? I believe that Sarah Palin might be so dumb that she confuses socialism for the rich, which is crony capitalism, corporate welfare, with the socialism for the poor.
Mm-hmm.
She might be that stupid. Now,
I think that's reasonable.
It is definitely a possibility, because again,
I've seen her speak before.
She practiced socialism in her own state when it came to the oil companies. So she practiced socialism. So now she's out decrying socialism? No, she's dumb. She's super stupid.
Yeah,
but that's okay.
But Alaska also has all those financial incentives. Like everybody gets a check from the oil companies and stuff like that. And So, yeah, I mean, a lot of that takes place in her state, and they
Hmm.
need to do it to get people to live there.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, it's ironic it's
Talk
as
about picking winners
conservative
and
as a
losers.
place that it is.
Yeah.
You would
But
think it actually wouldn't be, but
yeah.
you know.
But there's another
She
thing.
can see Russia.
She could see Russia from her house. From her house. Maybe she could see where the DNC hackers are. But no, she also says something. Even though she's dumb, she seems to understand one of the problems. In fact, she said, "quote It would be very really helpful if every single one of these politicians would do like the NASCAR drivers do. Let them wear the sponsors, the names of their contributors plastered all over their three-piece suits, so we know what side they're on and who they're actually doing their bidding for." You know what? That's a great idea. What, Palin? Great idea. Smartest thing to ever come out of your mouth. Let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Hey, man, a blind squirrel finds a nut occasionally.
Occasionally indeed. Look, here's the thing, right? Sarah Palin, she wants to paint Trumpcare, and that's what I'm calling it from now on, Trumpcare, as this horrible socialist takeover, which of course is hilarious because, as we pointed out, this is Obamacare light. And it's even more of a big giveaway to rich people. Now, the wealthiest Americans will get a tax cut of $157 billion under this plan, thanks to the repeal of two taxes paid for by literally 3% of the population. Those 3% are the ones who make more than $200,000 to $250,000 a year. And in fact, the richest 400 families in America would get an average tax cut of $7 million. So instead of the rich paying for this, it's you. You're going to pay for a worse plan. So yeah, let's keep it the same. I mean, if you're older, if you're sick, or if you're poor, you end up paying more. People that are younger and also wealthy tend to get a great break. I mean, they're going to be doing awesome until they hit 30.
Mm-hmm.
But remember, if they do get sick and they need health insurance coverage, oh look, they need to go and get insurance that's going to cost them 30% more for the next 12 months. A 30% more premium for an entire year in penalties.
Mm-hmm.
So look, if you want to call Trumpcare, let's call it what it is. It's not socialism. It's socialism for the rich. What it is, it's corporate welfare. It's a terrible plan. It's rugged individualism for everybody else, unless you're a very, very wealthy person. And that's what Trump cares about. Just like Donald Trump, it of course only serves the top 1%, the richest Americans, and no one else. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.